just ask you, the audience here, by a show of hands, how many people here are here for the first time? Raise your hand if you're here for the first time. Okay, very good, a nice amount. And I think you're going to enjoy the program, and I would ask that you do come back again, and I ask that you come back and bring a friend as well, because I believe that these grassroots attendances and conferences are very important just to get out a lot of the words and get out a lot of, well, people's legal rights and legal issues, which some people may not be aware of. The reason why I ask that question is because of the fact that those of you that have been here before know that when we speak about legal issues, what's important is that there's a court system that we have that can address and protect your legal rights. Unfortunately, there are people out there in society that want to take away your rights. Our civil rights, our civil justice system is under attack. How many people here have heard the word tort reform? Raise your hand if you heard the word tort reform. Okay. It's a dirty word, in my opinion. I speak about this to many different groups. And what tort reform basically is a movement out there where there are people that want to take away your rights, that want to limit your rights, that want to cap the amount of money damages that you are entitled to on an accident case, on various civil cases. Now, you ask yourself a question, who are these people and what's their agenda? When you have tort reform, basically you're dealing with three major entities: the big businesses, the insurance companies, and the municipalities. They're behind tort reform. Why? Let's face it. Let's take an example. Let's assume you have a two-car collision. Mr. Smith is driving his car and he's hit by Mr. Jones. Jones jumps the stop sign and hits Smith. Smith sues Jones, Smith collects money. Is that money coming out of Jones's pocket or is that coming out of his insurance company? Exactly, his insurance company. So these companies, well, they just don't want to pay. It's as simple as that. Same thing if he's working for a big company. They have their own insurance company. They're self-insured. So it's the same thing. So these are companies that, simply put it, they just don't want to pay. And that's just basically it. Now, how do they do this? How do they cast this propaganda, this nonsense, this false information? Well, two things. Number one, they try to show that lawsuits are bringing down this country. They try to show that lawsuits are fraudulent. Well, that's not true. There's good and bad all over. There's bad doctors. Well, that doesn't mean we close down every hospital, every medical facility. There's bad people in business. That doesn't mean we shut Wall Street down. There's some bad athletes. That doesn't mean that we just shut down Major League Baseball. It doesn't happen that way. There's good and bad all over. You keep that in mind, and you always remember that. You take a look at a fellow who gets injured by a car, that gets hit by a car, who's crippled, who's paralyzed, who loses a leg, and you know what? That person would turn the clock back not to have a lawsuit. That person would turn the clock back not to have to be in the position that he or she would have been in. There are three reasons why lawsuits are necessary in society. Number one, the injured party is made whole back in the situation that they should have been in had this terrible accident never taken place. Number two, wrongdoers are held to be accountable. There is nothing wrong with having a wrongdoer held accountable. And number three, it serves as a deterrent for other wrongdoers to realize you better drive right, you better toe the mark, you better be careful, or this is what's going to happen to you. So this is the reason why we have lawsuits. This is the reason why, this is the purpose for a lawsuit. So when you hear people say tort reform is necessary, lawsuits are bringing down the country, you tell them and you respond, you say no. What's necessary is decent behavior. What's necessary is we need better drivers. We need reasonable accommodations in housing. We need safe construction sites. We need equality in the workforce. We don't have to have, and we got to get rid of the bosses from hell. We need products that are safe and products that are free of defects, used by consumers. And we need doctors and we need hospitals that are going to give people the care and respect that they are entitled to, and not just look at them as just tokens and pawns to increase the bottom line. That's what we need. And if we have good behavior and things of that nature, and proper behavior, then, well, we don't need lawsuits. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. And lawsuits and access to our courts is central to people's civil rights and to people's civil lawsuits and people's claims. Now, things, but the system is there as a safeguard. We need that. We need good behavior. Thank you very much.